8 minutes after 10 o'clock, a little bit late because of our appearances from Joe Martone down at the Veterans Resource Center. So if you are a veteran, make sure you get down there. There's a lot of opportunities for you to learn about the different services in our community. Right now, we're going to learn about other things in our community. It's time for Ocala Magazine Radio. Philip Glassman and John Sotomayor are your hosts. Good morning, gentlemen. How you
Good morning, Larry.
Good
Great.
morning, Larry. How are you?
See you both. You got a good-looking guy with you? Who's that guy?
We have our guest here today. He is Keith Hill. Keith Hill, as many people in town already know, he is the double champion of the History Channel shows Forge and Fire.
Oh, wow.
And Knife or Death.
Cool.
Yes.
Wow.
I think that he makes him a master champion, wasn't it?
Master champion.
Grand champion is what they call it.
A grand champion. That's what it was.
You sent me some photos. I'm trying to figure out, is this one of them right here? Oh, there you are. Oh, with John. Look at that. There you are.
Yes.
Where are you? That looks like a workshop.
That's at his home, and he has a forge there on his property.
Oh,
You
wow.
want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it's I moved here in about 2011. Retired from the police department up in New Jersey, and was looking for something to do to occupy my time besides driving my wife crazy. And so my wife and I both do a lot of reenacting from like the 1500s to the 1800s.
Is that right? Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so it's really neat. My wife is really into history, so she kind of corralled me into that.
You got actor's good looks. You could be an actor.
Well, thank you.
Are you? I mean, do you do some of the stuff? I mean, obviously you've been in front of a camera, so does it parlay? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Parlay?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Does that lend
Carry
itself
forward.
to
Translate.
the films or TV? Does that help? I mean,
Well, sure. I would love to do something like that. I've done some reenacting films on PBS, but besides that, I'm certainly open to.
what city were you a police officer in?
In the Passaic County Sheriff's Department up in New Jersey.
Oh, in the deputy. You
It
were
was
deputy.
actually a SWAT.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Absolutely. It's a
Wow.
little bit different than a police officer.
Yeah.
Well, I like to kind of play it down.
Yeah, he's very humble, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are featured in the new issue of Ocala Magazine.
Actually, this is the December 2018, Larry.
okay.
We're going a little back in
Okay.
going back to our roots when we had transitioned to the new magazine.
That's correct.
And what we did with the December issue is focus on a success, and our theme was all in, to show that Ocala Magazine was all in with our new design, our new look, our new brand. And we thought, what better way to do this than to cover it in the Better Than the Best issue, where we focus on all the best things in Ocala. So that tied in with the reality TV show. We have several people in the community here that have been on reality TV shows and did quite well. We have another guest, hopefully he'll make it here. Dan Rengering, he was on Survivor, the CBS show, the last season of David versus Goliath, and he's originally from Gainesville and also works as a SWAT officer currently.
Wow.
I think he's on the phone.
I think so. Let's push it up. Good morning. You're on the air with us now. Good night to have you with us.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great, Dan. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Dan, this is Philip
for having me.
Glassman, and I own Ocala Magazine, and we're looking forward to meeting you.
I am on my way.
All the women in the whole town, they're going,
right.
where is he? How do I find him? Can I meet him? I'm like, yes, I think I can set it up.
I'll be there shortly. I'm coming. Tell him I'm on the way.
All right, Dan, no problem. But in the meantime, we were just talking about your role in Survivor, the past season, David versus Goliath. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what your experience was like and what you're going to be up to next. I'll premise this by saying that you had some upcoming presentations, some red carpet stuff to do with the Grammys, Emmys, and SAG Awards. So since this feature had started 2 months ago, we're kind of doing a where are they now, like what you guys are doing now. So if you can focus on that.
Okay. So I got some new stuff coming up. Can't really talk about a whole lot of it though, really, to be
Okay.
honest. So working on getting on some other TV shows and whatnot, some different charity events, stuff like that.
That's great.
Staying involved, trying to help people as much as I can as well.
Can you tell us about the red carpet presentations?
Supposed to be going to whichever one is this weekend.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be going to that.
Okay, awesome. And it says here from my notes, you'll be joining Ryan Seacrest, Mario Lopez, Kevin Frazier for some of these. So it sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's supposed to be a good time. So.
Okay, awesome. And tell us about your experience on Survivor. What was that like?
Oh man, that was probably one of the single greatest experiences of my life, other than my children being born. You know, getting to be out there, getting to escape from the real world for a little bit. You know, you kind of living in the woods. You know how people used to live. It's such a great experience. You know, and you know, eating just coconut and rice for a few days, you know, that's a heck of an experience, heck of a way to lose some weight too, you know.
You had a very special experience there because you made friends with the wrestler. His name is John. What was his name again?
John Hennigan. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I love that guy. I talk to him pretty regularly. He's a great guy. I still talk to him quite a bit. I actually got to go up and see him win the championship belt for the wrestling league that he's wrestling in. That was pretty fantastic. He's a cool guy.
Dan, did you find out that was like super challenging for you, kind of bring out your fire in the belly, if you would, on being on Survivor?
Wait, what was that again?
Did you find that it was really super challenging internally, and it was like kind of brought out your fire in the belly, if you would?
I mean, I'm already a natural competitor. Anything I do, I want to win. You know, whether it's playing Monopoly with my kids or Uno, you know, I kick their tails. So for me, it's just another day going out there. The hardest part for me was being away from my kids, not being able to eat for days on end. You know, that was kind of difficult. The challenges honestly weren't as challenging as I thought they would be, but I get why. You know, you have people like John Hennigan, who's a professional wrestler, competing against people that are professors in robotics and whatnot. So you kind of have to even out the playing field. I was hoping that physically it would be more challenging in the challenges, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and Dan, you have overcome some challenges of yourself in your personal life. You have lost over 140 pounds in a 5-year period, and that dedication to your physical training helped you get into the modeling world, go on covers and book covers, and you also work as a SWAT officer in Gainesville. We were just talking about that with Keith Hill. He was a former SWAT in New York. So you definitely rise to the occasion. Tell us about that.
For me, the biggest reason I wanted to lose weight was I wanted to be a SWAT operator. That's in our department, and I feel like in every department, that's the best of the best that the officer, or the best of the people they have to offer.
Right on.
And that's where I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to be more than just average. So I did everything I could to lose weight, become a SWAT operator, be one of the elite in the department, and be one of the people that's counted on and looked to for leadership and guidance and tactical knowledge.
All right. Well, so what's next? Is there an appearance here? This is the part I'm confused about. Are you guys doing something here, John?
Hopefully Dan will make it on the show. There was a little confusion on the scheduling.
Okay.
But yeah, we want to talk about some of the exciting features that we do. Again, the December kind of kicked off. November and December kind of kicked off our new Ocala magazine. So we're talking with our guests here about the things that they've accomplished and what they're doing now. So
very good. And the new magazine is now called OM.
Right.
That is correct.
Just so I get that part right. Okay.
He likes doing that.
All right. All right. Well, so let's continue with our conversations in the studio. And
Yes.
you want to take? Is there a third guest that am I confused?
Those are the two coming today.
Or two guests. All right. So do you guys know each other?
No, other than just the magazine. He certainly is an inspiration.
Are you competitive also?
Extremely competitive.
Oh, really?
I
doesn't know how to lose.
I'm a mountain biker, and I was 3 years in a row was a state champion in my category.
Is that right? Wow. And where did you mountain bike?
All over the whole entire state. It's gomriding.com. They're just an incredible production company, and they put on a whole series throughout the whole entire state. So I started up in Tallahassee and going all the way down to Miami and everything in between.
Oh, wow.
And it's a 10-race series, and it's super challenging. Great people, and it pushes yourself to keep yourself in really, really good shape.
So do you participate in like the what do they call those races where they have all kinds of obstacles in them? What do they call them?
You mean like
My son does
the
them.
Iron Man? Or?
Iron Man, probably.
That might be one.
Yeah.
Iron Man is one of them. Yeah.
Well, it's
Very
interesting this
challenging.
came up because he shared this in this feature story with us where he applied his training with mountain bike competitive racing to the Knife or Death Challenge, because that is an obstacle course that they have to go through. They have to time themselves. Keith shared about how he paced his timing based on how he does his mountain bike racing. So maybe you want to elaborate on that, Keith?
Yeah. The race, mountain biking, will last for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the course. So you can't leave out of the gate at 900 miles an hour because your heart will blow up, and you can't sustain that pace for an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
So you have to pace yourself and go as fast as you can, up to about 95% of your heart rate. And the same thing, I just applied it right to the show, where I felt myself getting to that limit, and you can judge yourself on your heartbeat. And
Really?
yeah.
Do either of you use technology to monitor the heart rate and all that? Do you have a smartwatch or something?
No, actually, I've tried it, and it distracts me too much.
Oh, really?
You're constantly looking down, and it just really concentrating more on looking at the watch rather than feeling and knowing your own body. So I just.
And Larry, for those who don't know the show, The Knife or Death, it's a series of obstacles that's designed for people who have blade making techniques, and they are invited to bring their own blade on the show that they've made themselves.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's crazy, Larry. They have
I've never made a blade in my life.
and some of the obstacles include the Trailblazer, Stick and Move, Ice Pick, Lifeline, Curtain Call. All these are specifically designed for different types of techniques. For Keith can talk about it more than I can, what he did there.
Yeah, the blade that I made was a cross between a kukri and a machete. Kukri is, for lack of words, it would be looking like a banana, if you will.
Okay.
Where it kind of swoops down, so
Right.
whatever you hit, it's going to swoop in and cut it really efficiently.
What is it used for?
It's a very proven blade. It is a combat blade.
Oh, it's combat. It's not like cutting down corn.
No, well, it certainly could.
You could use it in the jungle.
Could be used as cutting down corn and
Coconuts or
and cutting bones and everything else.
And the one he made is a cross with a machete too, so it does have that use.
Oh, okay.
So it has the combination of both, and just you have to look at the angle of the blade and geometry on the blade. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just smashing a piece of metal and putting edge on it. And there's a whole.
I always would watch the guys who threw the knives and got them into the wall and think that's not a skill. That's an accident. But I can't do it.
That's a true skill right
Yeah,
there.
you've got
skill,
Yeah, is that
that's-
yours? I mean, is that one of yours? Your things?
I can, but that wasn't part of the show. It was more you did not want to release the blade from your hand because then you no longer have control over it.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
also weight and measurement and timing when it comes to throwing the knife. It's
Absolutely.
very scientific.
Do you measure it with your eyes? I mean, how do you know how far away you are from something?
You judge the distance and how hard you're going
Holy
to
mackerel.
spin the blade. And
That's correct.
I can't even get a butter knife into the dirt. Wow. And all this is in Ocala magazine, huh?
That's correct.
You guys do a good job. Wow.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
A lot of thought goes into what themes we're going to cover each month. We try to go with a general theme from story to story and how they relate to one another. So as you see, thumbing through the December issue,
Yeah.
we had the Better Than the Best issue that year, which was awesome to put together because of the Jesse Miller's creative ideas and the work with the photographer John Jernigan and myself. We all contributed towards the unique photography that went in there, the styling that went in there, and then the selections that we got, all the nominations of the best businesses in town, all competing for that title of who's the better than the best. And it was just a phenomenal experience to go through that and then to tie in the other features with that.
And that was the first one that we actually redesigned cover to cover, which we have submitted ourselves into the Florida Magazine Association.
That's right.
You should win.
Thank you.
Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a married guy?
No, I'm single.
Uh-oh,
With 2
ladies.
girls and 2 dogs.
That's right, ladies.
Yeah, you
We're in big trouble, Dan.
when you lost the weight, you just became a different person. I'm looking at I guess that's the before picture, right?
Yes.
In the magazine, right? I mean, how long did that take you?
It took me a solid year and a half to get in good enough shape to be able to try out for our SWAT team, and I've been working on being a better version of myself since then. Always trying to improve and try to get better and be in better shape.
Hey, I have a question. You have in the photograph, it looks like a Bible verse on your arm.
Yeah.
What is that?
Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the peacekeepers, for they are the children of God. Firmly believe that's why I firmly believe I was put here on this earth to be a cop. Like, I feel like it's a calling for a lot of people that do it, and that's what I am. I'm a peacekeeper. I feel like it's a near and dear verse to me.
And you're still with the police department, right?
It's the SWAT. He's with
SWAT
out of Gainesville.
But SWAT is with what? The sheriff's office?
No, that's its own
no.
elite force.
But I mean, which agency are you with?
Gainesville Police Department.
Gainesville Police.
There we
Okay,
go.
that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm looking at the badge or the shield, I guess. What do you call it, a shield or a badge?
Badge.
My father always called it a shield. That's why I didn't know for sure. So Keith, do you miss doing it? I mean, it sounds like this is in your blood too.
I still do it, man. If I ever walk away from it, it's going to be really hard for me.
No, you do.
I love it.
Yeah, Keith said he's retired though, right?
Yes, retired. I did it for 20 years, and the gang activity up there where I was very prolific. There was probably about 78 different identified gangs just in the one city alone that we patrolled.
Is that right?
Yeah. it's
Jersey
just-
is such a bad state, isn't it?
Well,
I'm teasing.
there's parts of it that are absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just
Jersey is
when
it's
you.
illegal to pump gas. So that's what I love about New Jersey.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that we won't get into right now, but
So do you ever consider joining one of the agencies down here?
no, I'm too old school. I'm sure my counterpart will attest to this, that there's way too many cameras anymore for me to actually do my job as a old school policeman.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Yeah.
There's cameras everywhere.
Yes.
What is the race that Alex does, Robin? What is that?
Savage Race. He does that
Savage
one.
race. Do you guys
and,
do that? The
there's
Savage
one more.
races, or is that kids play to you? The Savage Race. Is that easy?
No, no, I don't do that. I stick to mountain biking.
Okay.
Just I have a bad knee, so I can't really pound on it too much. I want to prolong it as much as I can.
So when I picture mountain biking, it's not like Tour de France, right?
No, it's a bike that has wider tires. It has like a beefy tread on the on the tire.
So it's a smaller wheel, right?
No, it's actually it's a fatter tire than a regular road bike.
But I mean, as far as the diameter, is it smaller than you would see on a racing bike?
No.
Oh, really? It's big.
It's
huh?
actually a road bike will have. I think it's a 26 or 28, and I'm sure.
Oh, that is big. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
My bike mechanic is probably beating me over the head right now. You don't even know the size.
Oh, you have a guy.
Yeah, but the mountain bike is a 29-inch wheel, so it's a pretty big wheel. So it rolls over different obstacles a whole lot easier, and the pressures in the tire are really low, so it goes over a lot of.
Oh, okay.
Keith has shared with me that he also teaches on the side. He shows other people the craft of knife making, and is very involved with the medieval showcases at St. Augustine and stuff with his wife Janice.
I was wondering if you were at the Hogtown one. Were you at the Hogtown one in Gainesville?
My wife was.
Okay.
She loves going to those things. Very, very active, and she is historically correct with her outfits.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to the point where she
Me
hands.
too. My outfit is historically correct.
Mine is sometimes hysterically correct, but you know.
Yeah, we went to that. That was fascinating to watch the people banging the metal and turning things into things.
Absolutely, it's a true art, and
Forging.
Yes. That actually is interesting, Larry, about the Forge and Fire show, because they're given unique challenges every time. They're given different types of metals, things you never think of doing. Like, what are some of those items that they had you work with?
Well, we had a backhoe bucket, and we had to harvest the seal out of the backhoe bucket, and you have to figure out what part of the bucket you have to take the metal out of, because each different part of the backhoe bucket, there's different types of steels, hardenable steels, mild steels. You know,
Really?
mild steel will not take a temperament, and it'll remain soft, so it will not retain that edge.
So that's one of the challenges of the show, Larry. That they have to think on the spot. What am I going to do? Which metal am I going to use?
And then it's timed, right?
Exactly, and it's timed. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Super challenging.
So you have to, well, again, this is where part of my training as a police officer came into play. You have to be able to think on your feet very quickly.
Is it visual? How do you know? I mean, or do you taste it or something? How do you know?
Well, it's actually called.
Don't taste it, Larry.
Don't eat the steel, Larry.
Sometimes I do taste it, but not because I want to. No, it's actually called doing a spark test. Well, you take a grinder and you hit the piece of metal, or you can actually heat the blade up or heat the piece of metal up, put it into the oil to temper it real quick, and then hit it with a hammer. And if it shatters, then it's hardenable. But if it just bends over it, then it's a mild seal. It won't harden.
Wow. Who's the dog in the picture? Got a beautiful
that's
dog.
Dookie. Duke.
Yeah, that's Duke. That's my boy.
Who made John? Who made or Phil? Who made the decision to include the dog in the photo?
It was his decision. We let him forefront on that decision. We don't ever try to separate a man from his dog.
That's right.
I'll be known as the worst publisher in the history of the world.
He's definitely a shop dog. He's a German Shepherd, and he's about 10 years old now, going on 11, and he is brutally faithful.
Is that Dan right there?
That's Dan here waving at us. He'll come in a minute.
Brutally loyal.
He looks different.
He's big.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a big guy. There he is. Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, good. Can you hear me?
Dan is here, ladies. Dan is here, ladies.
Oh man, you're a movie star too. Look at you. He's another movie
Ready
star.
for action.
How come Robin left the room? Rob, what are you doing? Leaving the room?
Use this.
Don't worry, they're
you
blowing
can put
up my
those on.
phone already, Larry.
So are you guys? Help me out with this. Is there an appearance that we can go see you guys at besides the magazine? I mean, I know we can see you in the magazine.
Locally, I don't have anything going on right this
going on?
moment. Nothing that I'm aware of.
Oh, you need to be in something.
Definitely.
I mean, what are we doing? Let's go.
We'll work something out with the magazine.
You must have something up your sleeve, right? You got.
Sounds like we need to bring him for a live signing at Rawhide Live tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
We do have a concert there tonight, which is Crazy White Boys, and then we got Second Chance tomorrow night.
Crazy white
Can you
boys.
be there tonight, Dan?
What time?
What time?
Doors open at 7 and the concert starts at 8.
I got a softball game at 7:30 and 8:30, but I can come after that.
All right.
If that's not too late.
Hey, you too, Keith. Sure. Come too.
Well,
Let's go.
So Dan, what was what would you say to the guy you used to be?
Keep on keeping on, man. Work hard. You can change.
Did you have those kind of doubts at one time? Were you look like you're a confident guy, but I'm wondering if back then you weren't.
No, not back then. Definitely wasn't confident back then.
You look like Superman. You could be Superman. Or maybe it's the chest. and
Maybe it's the
America.
shirt, right?
No, it's the hair too. It's everything, right?
I mean, that's kind of my favorite superhero, to be honest.
Mine too.
Superman's the best.
Oh gosh, of course.
I mean, he's the one. He always does right, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the kind of man that every man should want to be like, if you ask me.
but be careful. You're right next to Thor, so I don't know.
Superman versus Thor.
I don't know if I want to see a contest between Thor and Superman.
Thor's a little shady.
Shadows.
Well, thank you all for coming in here. And Phil, do you want to end it?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something to Dan. You know, I commend you. You know, I really respect what you said here about your children, since I'm being a father myself, and it's so rare to find good parenting and specifically fatherhood in our society today.
Yeah, that was a sweet thing to say.
Leading by example, I believe, is everything. So I commend you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
And I also want to thank Dan for coming down from Gainesville to be with us today, and Keith for coming in from Ocala. These guys came a distance to be with us today, so that's awesome.
And thank you for your SWAT service that you guys have done for 20 years and 10 years and what you guys have done there.
Yeah, you know, when I see that big SWAT vehicle that the sheriff's office has, I mean, it's cool in the parade, but you realize that when you look at that, you guys, the guys who actually sit in that vehicle, every time you use that vehicle, you're putting yourself in a life and death situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what we all signed up for. You know, you got to do what you got to do to help people.
Wow.
When Larry sees it, he's amazed, and when I see it, I run as fast as I
You're
can.
well trained.
He can compete on the show.
Thank you for what you've chosen to do, both of you. Law enforcement doesn't get thanked enough, so thank you for choosing to do that. And your amazing skills. You're both really good-looking guys, and so find a camera somewhere so we can get you on a film or something. You guys are good-looking too. You guys, look at this picture right here, Robin. Where's Robin? What's the matter?
We got to get a photo together after the show.
John and Philip, thank you. And you want to give out information about the magazine?
Absolutely. We're having our 40 under 40 call out nominations. So everyone, please, if you have someone you'd like to nominate who is 40 under 40, contact editorial or editor at ocalamagazine.com. You can also post it on our Facebook page. We'll be watching and monitoring.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in. All right. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.